Barr is running for Congress again, and that's very, very exciting. BarrCongress.com. Maybe he can go in there and bar them, pun intended, from totally overthrowing the republic. This is a guy who decades ago was a leading voice and has continued to be one warning of growing tyranny. And he's got Liberty Guard trying to restrict and bar what the TSA has been up to and all those outrages. We see that picking up steam in Congress right now to make them not bark orders and grab people's genitals and all the rest of it. So there is an awakening going on. And he's also been writing for Town Hall, dealing with the NSA. Of course, he was in the CIA as well. And so that gives Bob Barr a unique perspective on really the ins and outs of government and how it works. His latest article is Transparency Through a Glass Darkly. And you know, I knew that he was going to be running for Congress again, but it just like literally just hit me that he's running and we need to support him and get him in there. And people say, well, he was in the CIA, he must be bad. Ladies and gentlemen, government's all compartmentalized. And people in the military and people I know that have been in the CIA are some of the most patriotic, informed, hardworking people. It's that there's compartmentalized groups using national security covers to be able to carry out their own nefarious deeds. That's why we need transparency. And that's why he's always been a leading light in transparency. And I only raise that because it's not even really ever a controversy. I just hear, well, he says a lot of good stuff, but he's in the CIA. He's helped get a lot of good legislation passed and has helped block a lot of legislation. We don't have Ron Paul in Congress anymore. He was in Congress, got out of Congress, got back in Congress. We need to send Bob Barr back to Congress. And I didn't mean to turn this into a campaign promotion here, but it just hit me. Well, I've got Bob Barr on. I'm about to interrogate him about the NSA and all the stuff that's going on and you know, get his take on it and how to turn it around. And I'm not even going to mention he's running for Congress. So first off, sir, glad that you're throwing your hat back in the ring. I know it's a lot of work, but we really appreciate that. And tell us about the campaign and what your goals are there in Georgia.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's a great pleasure and honor once again to be with you and your many listeners across the land. I was at a forum last night just outside of Atlanta, where my district is, and I was asked a question. You know, you served in the Congress before. You were President Reagan's U.S. attorney. You have background in the CIA. You know, you could just sort of retire and sit back and take it easy. Why are you getting back into the fray? Why are you running again for the Congress? And I said, it's simple. I love this country too much not to get back into the arena. With what I see happening, Alex, you were there. You mentioned a couple of the things just a few minutes ago that I was working on years and years ago when I was in the Congress, when we first started to learn about the abuses by NSA and the electronic surveillance, the illegal stuff going on, and what the FBI was doing through Project Carnivore and Project Echelon. And it's even worse nowadays. The reason why it's so important for you to continue to be out there to raise these issues, both yourself and your many guests, is because government is constantly and forever, our founding fathers understood this, looking for ways to increase its power at the expense of individual liberty. And if you let up, then it's just going to keep going and going and going. It's worse now than it was before, and that's why I want to step in there and make sure that I do my part with whatever years the good Lord has left for me on this earth to rein in government power. I mean, it's almost to the point. It's not to the point yet, but it's almost to the point where it's going to be irreversible, and I ain't going to sleep until I do everything I can to stop it.
Just following it in the news, even though the media has been trying to ignore you or attack you both, you got a good chance of winning. What do we do to help get you into Congress for our listeners? Because it doesn't matter if people don't live in Georgia. They should be supporting you however they can. Because, I mean, absolutely, you came on this show in the late 90s and so many times, dozens of times, and it was always the NSA spying, the FBI, Carnivore. We got to pass a law. We got to ban this. We got to dismantle this. It's dangerous. Total tyranny. They're going to use it to oppress the press. They're going to use it to persecute political enemies. This is going to be the end of us. And really, even more than Ron Paul on the subject of NSA and FBI illegal surveillance, you were there because obviously you understand it more than most members of Congress who are just lawyers or just doctors. You know, you've been inside secret operations and things. You understand the dangers. I mean, explain to us, as you've done before, why basic freedom is based in having privacy, and without privacy, you have no freedom.
Well, very, very good point, and it's fundamentally important. And to take one of your simpler points first, the fact of the matter is, we need people up there fighting for individual liberty and fighting against these encroachments by government power, who have been there, who know what government is doing. I mean, I learned as an official with the CIA, just on the one hand, how important it is that we have a foreign intelligence agency like the CIA, but how equally important it is to make sure that it is kept within bounds, because it is so easy to have that power abused when it is secret. Similarly, when I served as President Reagan's U.S. attorney in Atlanta, I learned how important it is, certainly, to have good prosecutors to uphold their laws and protect the public. But being on the inside, excuse me, I also know just how powerful these agencies are and how easily those powers can be abused. So I really am in a unique position in many ways to tackle these problems. With regard to the privacy issue, basically what you were doing just a moment ago, Alex, in discussing how important it is to retain the right to privacy, is quoting or paraphrasing Ayn Rand. As you and I have discussed previously, as Ayn Rand said in The Fountainhead toward the end of that great novel on individual freedom and individual power standing up to the government, privacy is essential to civilization. Keeping men free from other men is the essence of privacy and the essence of civilization. Without privacy, you can have no freedom. You have no civilization. You live in a communal world where everything is controlled by the community, both ideas, money, work product, and so forth. So maintaining the right to privacy, as codified, for example, in the Fourth Amendment to our Constitution, that the government cannot invade your privacy by searching your personal records, belongings, things, and homes, is essential to freedom. It's essential to liberty. Our founding fathers understood that. They understood it long before Ayn Rand wrote about it 150 years later in the 1940s. And what has been happening since the days when I worked at the CIA back in the 1970s, where we had a very clear demarcation line, very clearly demarcated between domestic and international affairs. That line has been blurred to the point where, in the minds of the NSA and these folks up there like Clapper and the Brennan and the others up there, it no longer exists. They think that as long as they say we're doing something in the name of national security, as long as we're fighting terrorism, then we can do whatever we want, wherever we want, to whoever we want. And that is a philosophy, that is a recipe for tyranny.
Well, it certainly is. And then look at how they've used the NSA on Fox News, the Associated Press, how they've used the IRS to persecute Tea Party pro-life groups. Now they're persecuting secret conservative Hollywood groups. I mean, this is beyond McCarthy times 10. And this is tyranny, and we need to recognize it's already here. It was Senator Ted Cruz that said that Obama is frightening, that he's terrifying, that he's dangerous. And the media tried to demonize him, but that only backfired on him because the public understands the unitary executive that's been degenerating for a while. I'm not saying Obama's going to stay in office, but they're turning the executive with the bureaucracy and the interests that run it into a 2.0 modern synthetic oligarchy or dictatorship. Those that control the presidency like a control panel, a dictatorial control panel, and then the president's kind of a window hanging there. I mean, do you agree with that analogy? And at what point are we historically? Because, even Jonathan Turley said, we're coming to the point, other folks have said in Congress, that the only option would be armed rebellion, which obviously we don't want, and the system's set up for that, and it would cause a civil war. So what do you do then, and what point have we reached, Congressman?
What we do is, first of all, at least within my bailiwick, running for Congress, we need to get people into Congress and demand that our folks in the Congress stand up for what Congress is supposed to stand up for. Congress is not a rubber stamp for a president, despite what Harry Reid might think or what Nancy Pelosi might believe. Congress has to stand up to the president, regardless of the political party of the president, because they are protecting. They are in the vanguards, one of the protectors of our fundamental liberty. And part of what Congress has an absolute responsibility to do, and they time and time again in modern years have failed to do this, and that is to stand up to presidents who basically slap Congress around, say, I'm not going to do what the law says. I'm going to sign an executive order and do what I want. I'm not going to do what you, the Congress, have directed by lawfully passed legislation. And Congress sits back, and what do, Alex? They say, thank you, sir. May we have another, sir. Every time that happens, we move further down the road toward consolidating absolute power in the presidency and weakening the fundamental pillars of our representative democracy, because Congress cedes power to the president when they do not stand up to the president.
Sure.
That's the problem that we see over and over and over again, and it happens under Republican presidents the same as Democratic presidents, except this one is much worse.
Now, expanding on that, Ted Cruz called him frightening and dangerous. We just pulled up the Houston Chronicle article on that. How would you describe Obama? I mean, what is the word for it? Because it doesn't matter if it's energy or guns or borders, legalizing the illegals, getting Obamacare passed and saying he'll selectively enforce it, and Congress says, okay, and he'll selectively decide what to do with the NSA, okay. Congress passing the buck. And then the state of Texas was about to pass a law unanimously in the House, so they killed it in the Senate 2 years ago, as you know. And then Obama said, I will have F-16s. This was in the news. It wasn't even a big deal. It was just a footnote. We will blockade aircraft, and no aircraft will be allowed to fly in Texas. I mean, this is like the stuff that started the Civil War. That's why I'm going there. I mean, this is already getting crazy.
It is no longer hypothetical. When you have statements like that, and when you have statements like the president issued the other day, basically throwing down the gauntlet to the Congress, saying, I don't care what you do. I have a pen. I can order people to do what I want, regardless of what Congress says, regardless of what the laws of this country say. And Congress just sits back and does nothing. We, the people, have to rise up and demand that they do something. Get these guys out of office that are in there who just sit back, sort of, and sleepwalk through their terms in the Congress. We need people that will fight. And I'm not saying I'm the only one. There are some other good folks up there and some good candidates around the country. But whether you're talking about immigration law, whether you're talking about national security in Benghazi, whether you're talking about the fundamental right to privacy and allowing NSA to violate the Constitution and the laws of this land, we need people up there that understand these issues and have the backbone, as I've proven I did when I stood up to Bill Clinton and led the impeachment of that scoundrel a generation ago. We need these people in the Congress, and that's why I'm running.
And we've got Obama saying things like he's good at killing people. I mean, even the people I know that are Army and Navy and Special Forces and Marines. I mean, the guys, no one, even if he killed people with his bare hands, you don't make statements like I'm good at killing people. I think it shows a narcissistic, really amateurism of Obama, and it frightens me to think that these people are so into red carpets, so into the jets, so into the month-long vacations, to know that even if we had a corrupt elite, if they weren't so reckless, it wouldn't be as scary. I mean, I really have never been a big fan of the theory that it's a government incompetence theory, but more and more you see the foreign policies uncoordinated. It's crazy. I mean, funding Al-Qaeda to attack Syria. What's your take on that?
Well, it's on the one hand, one could be charitable, as you uncharacteristically were just a moment ago, in saying this is just amateurism. What they're doing, you could sort of chalk it up to, well, they just don't really understand the Middle East. They don't understand the international affairs. I mean, after all, this guy was nothing but a community organizer and a faux constitutional law professor. The fact of the matter is, I think it goes deeper than that.
Oh, I agree.
It goes deeper than simply they're amateurs. It's worse than they simply don't know what they're doing. they have a worldview that is 180 degrees at odds with what the vast majority of our citizens believe and understand and want to see in the world, and that is an America that is strong, that is the shining city on the hill, that carries weight in whatever we do, that is not does not have to kowtow to communist China because they have $1.3 trillion of our debt in their pocket that they can hold over our head. That's the sort of thing that costs us dearly, even in non-economic terms as well, because it reduces the flexibility and the options that are available to the United States of America in dealing with these foreign problems and crises. As long as we remain a major debtor nation, we will not carry the weight in the world that Ronald Reagan did.
Well, that's right. And just to qualify what I was saying so it's clear, obviously they're consciously Cloward and Piven, domesticate the public, centralize the power, give favors to insiders, pick winners and losers. We know the big city mafia Democratic Party disease that's the worst out there. The Republican disease of the neocons is bad, but I mean, there's nothing worse than this group who, they're not even socialists like they claim. They're just gangsters. I'm saying there's an amateurism that I see coming through in the recklessness of what they're doing. Sure, they have a method of the madness. I'm just seeing the playboy nature of it, and I'm trying to quantify what I'm saying. There's just something very creepy about a bunch of gangsters up there running the American empire, and very frightening.
It is frightening because they can not only waste the great legacy that we have in this country, but the very continued existence of us as a major nation is at stake. I mean, it could not, Alex, be more serious. And here again, that's why it's so important for you to continue to be out there bringing this message, why, to follow up on a point you made earlier, why it's so important for citizens and voters all across this land, whatever state they live in, whatever congressional district they're in, to support my candidacy, because just like there are members of Congress and candidates from other parts of the country that I support, I need the support of Americans from all over the country to go to barrcongress.com to help us out, because the votes that I take, the positions that I take will help Americans all across this great land. Similarly, Ted Cruz. I don't live in Texas. My mom does, but I support him, even though I'm not in his district in the state of Texas.
Exactly. And let me expand on how important this is, folks. Bob Barr said everything Ted Cruz is saying 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's just that back then, the dinosaur media was still dominant. And so he could barely get on CNN, get on Fox sometimes, show the message. People weren't ready to hear this libertarian, constitutional, truly conservative, common sense message. And Ben Bob Barr was popular, but just not iconic. I'm telling you, you get back in Congress now, it'll be like having another Rand Paul, another Ted Cruz, but it's like bringing back, Babe Ruth, back to life, basically. And
well, don't get carried away, Alex. I'm liking too much of what you're saying there. Don't get too carried away. I mean,
no, I'm serious. You're going to be
in there with some outstanding Americans that we need to continue to support.
No, but I mean,
Cruz and Ron Paul.
Exactly. I'm just saying, Ron Paul never got his due when he was there until the end. And then he became a rock star of liberty. That's what we need. And I'm saying we need to get you back in Congress to be a major leader. And the zeitgeist is there. The climate is right. I mean, I'm not just putting, perfume on this thing. I'm sure that's why to throw your hat in the ring. If you get in there, you're going to really be able to have a bully pulpit and really get in there and do some filibustering, to expose what's happening.
And one of the it might be a minor point to some people, or inside the beltway, so to speak, but it's also very important for people to recognize that when I do go back to the Congress in the House, I keep the 8 years of seniority that I accumulated earlier, which is extremely important to do what you just said, and that is to get things done to move our agenda forward up there.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, folks, if you study Congress, Bob Barr back in, that is it, and then to help formulate more leaders, more libertarian patriots to just take this country back. I mean, we can do it if we get behind people like Bob Barr, folks. So, again, go to Bob Barr's congressional website. We're going to put it back on the screen for folks, and I'm going to give you that URL. It is absolutely essential that people go there. Congressman, tell folks how they can go to your website.
Just, it's a very simple, www.barrcongress, B-A-R-R, Congress.com, barrcongress.com.
Can't miss that, I tell you. And we're out of time. You got to promise to come back soon to talk about all the other issues. A selfish question. Whatever happened with the lawsuit, because I know you got the intel that Matt Drudge, Alex Jones, Infowars.com, you know, that we were being demonized and on these lists, and they were trying to declare national security and stuff. Did we ever find out what the TSA's up to?
That case, I mean, it's like the old case in Bleak House by Charles Dickens, Jarndyce v. Jarndyce. It just drags on for generation after generation. We're still engaged after about 3 years of litigation with the FOI trying to get the information on what the TSA did 3 years ago, as I think it was right around Thanksgiving time.
Well, I know you've got
to the bottom of it.
I know you've got to go soon, but if you can do just 5 more minutes with us on the other side, Congressman Barr, I want to talk about the NSA, talk about how we stop that, talk about how you think we defeat this security theater that is the TSA, and other issues with former Congressman Bob Barr we're going to put back in Congress. It is so important, ladies and gentlemen, and you can nitpick people all day long, but I mean, Bob Barr, compared to Nancy Pelosi and people like that, is the polar opposite of those traitors. And we cannot use strong enough rhetoric because these people are scum.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com. In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
You can run on for a long time.
Folks, I get excited about beating the tyrants. And you know, I've had Bob Barr on many times and haven't ever really gushed like I'm gushing now. I was just remembering all the stuff he did. Actual legislation, actual police state stuff he stopped. Actual FBI police state stuff he stopped. CIA stuff he stopped. And listen, we barely beat those gun confiscation bills and all the garbage that Obama had in the Senate. If it wasn't for Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, it would have passed. And if it wasn't for a few people like Walter Jones and folks like Ron Paul and Amash and all those people in the House, we would have lost. We are inches from losing, okay? But we're inches from winning. And so, I mean, this is a war. I mean, my whole life, okay? Because my children, 3 children, 2 daughters and a son, they don't have a future. And my family's been here since 1620, both sides on the Mayflower, okay? I mean, I'm all in for America. And people watch football games and want their team to win, and they get upset about it. This is 100 times that, and that's the attitude we've got to have here. I mean, I'm in it to win it. That's why I'm aggressive, because we got to get people out of their days. And so I start talking to somebody like Bob Barr, and I was getting him on about the NSA and stuff. I knew he was running for Congress, and it kind of clicked. Wow. Think about what it's going to be like to have him back in there. It's going to be explosive. The climate has shifted. There is a tide in the affairs of men when taken at the flood leads on to fortune, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. But our fortune isn't money and power. Our fortune is a future. Our fortune is saving this country and the world. I mean, that's the stakes. And Bob Barr, I mean, it sounds sensational, but if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, I think that's where we are historically. I think people should really understand the stakes. What are the stakes right now? You were telling me off air, you're excited, you're in the lead, you need to stay in the lead, you're probably going to win, but people need to get behind you and that you are going to knock heads. Repeat what you said, and then where are we historically?
Well, the one thing I've been called a lot of things over the years, particularly by the liberal media. But one thing I've never been called is a member of the establishment. I live to shake up the establishment because the establishment seeks to exert control over individuals, and that's the one word that always comes to my mind in talking about Washington. It's all about the big C, control. And I am excited about running. We are in the lead, but we need to get your listeners and our supporters, wherever they are, excited and motivated and active, because you can be in the lead one day and not in the lead the next day. And I need to stay in the lead in order to get back up there to shake things up in Washington. I don't want to say it'll be fun to shake things up in Washington, but Alex, it will be, to get back up there. I mean, I remember 16 years ago to the day I was on the floor of the Senate arguing to remove President Clinton from office. I mean, that's the kind of drive, that's the kind of commitment, that's the kind of backbone that we need up there, willing to take on all comers.
Yeah, because let's just say it. I mean, a lot of people died that went up against Clinton. A lot of airplanes blew up. A lot of people got shot in the head 5 times. And it does take backbone to try to impeach somebody when you're going up against gangsters like this. And we've got to get rid of the Clinton mafia. And I think what you're hinting at is if we put you back into Congress, you are going to start investigating, bringing charges of impeachment up in the House.
Alex, I was with some folks just recently, and I pulled out of a file in my office the House resolution, that I introduced on November 5th of 1997. That was the very first official inquiry of impeachment filed against Bill Clinton. And that was mine, and at the time I think I had 18 co-sponsors was all in November of 1997. And what I did is I took that document, figuratively kind of dusted it off, added a little bit of language to it, and darned if it doesn't sound pretty good with Barack Obama's name in there.
Oh, man. So I think it's safe to say if you get back in Congress, the evidence is already there. You're going to start looking into the inquiry to begin getting the co-sponsors for indicting the president in the House, and I guess he'll be tried in the Senate.
I think it really has come to that. Now, it's not something I like to say. When I left the House before, after we impeached Clinton, my hope was that we would never have to go through that process again. But we do. We do need to stand up for the rule of law. We do need to stand up for proper separation of powers. And we do need to stand up and tell a president we have an attorney general that won't do it. We need people in the Congress who will stand up and say, Mr. President, you are not above the law. You cannot ignore the law. You cannot simply violate the law, violate the Constitution, because from a policy standpoint, you deem it appropriate to do so. We don't operate that way in America, and you are not going to be permitted any longer to do that.
Well, look at Walter Jones from North Carolina, who's a frequent guest. He's got the bill introduced that if they continue to back al-Qaeda and bomb more countries, that impeachment will begin. But no one's got the nerve when he's the clearest president to be impeached ever. It makes Richard Nixon look like an angel, and I'm no fan of Richard Nixon. And then I look at the Democrats persecuting people and going after Republican governors and people for stuff that's questionable if it's even really illegal, endorsing vitamin companies and stuff. I mean, give me a break, like we're seeing in Virginia. And it's really frightening when you see how the Democrats operate, trying to indict all their foes, trying to send, a Republican congressman from Texas to jail for totally legal PACs.
What they did to Tom DeLay was absolutely outrageous, and the prosecutor, whose name I forget there, the prosecutor, just kept going and going and going.
Ronnie Earl.
Tom DeLay. And finally, I guess just retired or whatnot, was not held accountable. And thank goodness, Tom DeLay was finally vindicated in the courts of appeal there. But the man lost his job. His reputation was ruined for a period of time there. He lost tremendous income, I'm sure. And as Ray Donovan, the former labor secretary, said years ago, tell me, where do I go to get my reputation back? It's just outrageous that these people can do these things and get away with them. And I'm just tired of letting Obama get away with what he's doing.
Well, that's what's scary. I mean, there's been Republican leadership that does corrupt stuff and political persecutions, but it's so rare compared to the Democrats. And, I mean, they can indict a ham sandwich with all these, I mean, they have one county here, Austin, where I live, that they launch attacks all over the place. Bloomberg used New York to launch all these frivolous attacks, while they are just wallowing in corruption with Solyndra and Benghazi and Fast and Furious. And then I see this attorney general going around indicting Republicans for having dirt under their fingernails and really questionable stuff. And I mean, it's just insane. It makes me scared at a fundamental level. They could set me up. I'm totally clean. But who knows what they could make up? I mean, you really see the dirty tricks. That's why I then admire someone like you, who I know they see as a threat, on the air saying what no one else is willing to say, because they're scared. And because they know, wow, if they can indict people for getting loans because they were talking about endorsing a supplement company, I mean, they can do anything. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Well, listen, we need to get you into Congress. The website, we'll put it up on screen for folks, barrcongress.com. We need to get him in there, and we need to get other people that have shown they're fighters. But listen, this is the guy that brought the impeachment. This is the guy that did, and I was just thinking back now and no one's going to sit there in the controlled media and go, look what Bob Barr did. Bob Barr has courage. And I didn't mean to turn this interview into a big endorsement, but I just started having that epiphany. Wow, this is really a good card to play. So, Congressman, I'm going to say Congressman because we're going to pray and hope you get in there, and it looks like you can, but we don't want to count our chickens before they're hatched. Any other points you'd like to add on other issues in the country and things you like to do when you get into Congress?
Oh, gee, there's so many things I'd like to do with Obamacare and the Federal Reserve and so forth, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about those. I do hope people will not only go to the website, as you mentioned, Barr Congress, but also friend us on Facebook. I mean, that's an important way to get the message out and to show people that they support what I'm trying to do and what I'm talking about and what you're talking about, to friend us on Facebook as well.
All right. Well, Congressman Bob Barr, thank you so much for the time, and look forward to talking to you throughout the campaign.
Thank you so much for having me once again on your show, Alex. You take care, and God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Well, there goes Congressman, former Congressman, soon to be Congressman again, Bob Barr, just lately launching his new campaign, and very exciting. And again, I was very tired today. I have allergies. Everybody knows that. And then I just got energized because it was like clicking. I'm like, I'm talking to Bob Barr, who fought the NSA, fought the FBI on Carnivore, fought the omnibus crime bills, fought all the gun bills, beat a bunch of them, and started the impeachment of Bill Clinton with David Shippers and all the rest of them. It's just like, it's weird to be talking to these historical figures, and no one in the mainstream media is going to tell you. I mean, listen, the Clintons murder people, okay? Okay? And I was talking to him off air, and he was talking about impeachment and kind of breathing in when he said it, because, I mean, let me tell you something. You got to have big huevos to actually be well-spoken and threatening to the establishment and have a really good, clean background like Bob Barr, and then go up against them. Because they're scared of people like Bob Barr, folks. They're scared of Ted Cruz. They're scared of Rand Paul. These are warriors, ladies and gentlemen, who are in danger and who are being attacked. And I hope you realize I don't want your thanks, because I'm in a fight here with you. We're bailing the water together. But you need to know, too, that I am under attack, and that just all sorts of stuff going on. And it's par for the course. I expect it, and I quite frankly don't like it, but that's what it is. Because I know that comes with the territory. And, you know, I try on so many fronts to really be a upstanding, good person. It's hard to be a good person. It's hard to make the right decisions, but my heart's in the right place, and I know your heart's in the right place. And, man, it just clicked when I got Bob Barr, because I said last week, hey, get Bob Barr on. I want Bob Barr on about the NSA, and then it just clicked, oh, he's just now announcing for Congress. Wow, this is perfect. Wow. What will he be like when he's in there? Because here's the deal. He couldn't really go after him on a lot of stuff he did in the past because he had no support. People are looking for leadership. That's what I'm telling you, folks. You have to be leaders in your area. And listen, if there were Democrats out there fighting tyranny, I would have them on the show and I would endorse them. Who's the congressman from Florida? I'm having a brain fart, as they call them. Excuse my French. The old English insult, everything bad. Excuse my French. It's ridiculous. I love the French, folks. I'm Alsatian. My mom's side of the family is mainly German. There's a lot of Germans came into the U.S. and Texas, obviously, but there's Old English in there too, Greshams and a bunch of other stuff. But I've got like double German Alsatian back there too. Most of my German ancestors come from Alsatia. That's the real name of a German Shepherd too, is an Alsatian. But anyways, I guess if I was anything, I am English and Alsatian. But not a lot of other stuff. But so no offense to the French is what I'm saying. But it's German French. But expanding on all of this, in the final equation, we have to really just gut up and make the decision about what we're going to do. I mean, and I know I keep restating the obvious. I'm going to go to your phone calls. It's just that I admire people because of their courage. And now I understand how the world works better. As you get older, more of the knowledge comes with the wisdom, and then you understand multi-layer what's going on. And you realize people like Bob Barr and others understand there's nothing to sell out to. There's no boss hog in the sky, you know, in the government that we can just sell out to, and they'll still be nice to us and pat us on the head and everything will be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. You can't sell out to this. There's nothing to sell out to. Sell out to poverty in a collapsing country run by a bunch of control freaks that want to hurt people and make them poor? I mean, it's a no-brainer. They want to divide everybody. They want to screw everybody up. They want to break up families. They want to poison everybody. the New World Order can go straight to Hades. I mean, that's what's so frustrating. There's not even a question here, people. All their debates are fake. All their moral high ground stuff's fake. It's all crud, and you know it. You know it's all lies. Systematic, pure lies practiced to break your will and to condition you to accept fraud. And I'm not accepting it anymore. I want to survive. I want to thrive. I want to have a future. It's real simple. Are you better off now under the New World Order than you were before? You like where we're going. You like the smell of things, and you know you don't. Don't let your eyes and your heart and your nose and your taste and your touch and your senses get in the way, huh? Just believe the fraud. Let's go to Jay in Wisconsin. Thanks for holding. I appreciate it. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, first-time caller. It's actually Jay Mitch. I'm calling to let you know they've put the surveillance cameras up that you were talking about a few weeks ago. They're literally up in my neighborhood, like peering into my backyard, and there are no businesses around. And then they're all over the freeways and the highways, and they're all over the main streets here. They're also
in streetlights all over Austin. They run the streetlights off of cable, off of internet. And then they've got, a lot of them have microphones and cameras in them, and it's just not even a news item. Just looking at your house. And they got caught in Seattle and everywhere else turning the cameras around, looking in people's houses. Well, of course, that's what they're doing. And they're using our money and super cheap technology to build a total grid of literal imperial probe droids everywhere, tracking everything we do. I mean, that's what those are. Those are robots with face scanning and voice analysis and all this AI crap, where the conversation gets interesting and it goes bing, 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 bing. They go, let's see what's going on there. The guy's like, I ought to beat the hell out of that guy at work. Or don't, I mean, they just know everything you're doing. It's so criminal. But the answer is, oh, we're the good guys, so it's okay. No, it's totally illegal. Go ahead.
Yeah, and one other quick thing I want to say. The people here, I've been letting a lot of people know about your show, and I'm actually able to make a few T-shirts and things myself, and so I've been making a few shirts endorsing your show. And, it's a lot of people, young people here that are in my community that have woken up and are aware of the things that are going on. And I did want to say that I had a dream a few years back about all of this. I actually write music for ASCAP, and I wrote a song about this, and so I shot it over to your Facebook page as a link if you want to check it out.
Oh, Real Alex Jones or the main?
It's Real Alex Jones, and I shot it into the...
What's the name of the song?
It's called Flee the North. It's about fleeing North America.
All right, Flee the North. All right, we'll check it out. All right, folks, stay with us. Felix, James, Greg, you're up next.
What's making Americans sick and